year. So, guess without further ado, shall crack it do. I guess shall we do a little thing by the raise of hands? How many people have played in JIRA before? Are you aware what JIRA does and why we're doing it today? Well, everyone should be aware. JIRA, perfect. Thank you, Jade. JIRA is basically a project management tool. In project management tools, it's not screwdrivers. It's not, I can't even think of another freaking tool. But essentially, it's softwares and applications that make managing projects much easier. So that's why we're sort of focusing on JIRA because, well, it's a really amazing way for you to build on your CV. The more project management tools you know, the more expertise you can be. And another thing is you can really utilize this at home even now to get comfortable with it. And yeah, in interview questions, when they even ask you about another project management tool, if you don't know about it, what you can basically say is, you know, I also didn't know about JIRA. These are the steps I took to learn JIRA. Now I'm an expert at JIRA. So I know with your project management tool, I'll also be an expert in no time. So that is the main reason why I wanted to bring back all the project management tool overviews. So without further ado, let's crack it, dude. That's my new thing. Oh, I guess, Jane, do you have a question, or did you just put a hand up to say, you know, about JIRA? No, no question. Yeah, perfect. Someone said the link's not working. Let me just paste it in here. See if this one works. Okay, perfect. Let's go. So essentially, like we said, JIRA is a project management tool. As you can see, I've basically have created a few project workshop projects previously. So basically, this is where all of your projects will show up. And the main thing is, if you want to create a new project, you really just go under projects and you click create. And it allows you to basically choose the different templates for different things. So people don't just use JIRA for project management. The main thing I actually know that they use it for is, let me see if I can find it, is for basically raising IT issues. I don't know if I will be. Oh, here you go, IT service management. So people raise for JIRA tickets when they got problems. So usually your IT will be like, have you raised a JIRA ticket? Like they want you to do it properly through there. And actually JIRA started only for software developers. I have heard some TikTok influencers still say that JIRA is only for software developers. We are way beyond JIRA being for software developers. Like, we've used it in banking, we've used it in so many different industries now that it really has become adaptable, but it did originate as a software developer thing, because essentially JIRA really encourages you to work in little pieces. And you know, as software developers, like, you're constantly working on new little things. So that's where the story of Balamori for JIRA is. And to be fair, I always end up just picking project management, and then you can always what's the word, tailor it to your project. So this one I'm actually going to call Powder, right? Because I really need to start doing, I'm going to call it product backlog. In Agile, basically product backlogs is everything that a project wants to achieve, and then we turn it into sprints and we drag stuff from that product backlog into different sprints. So I'm going to call it Powder product backlog, because I've really noticed as soon as I don't use project management for project takeover community, everything is just a mess. It's just a little bit chaotic. So I'm going to go back to treating it like a project. So after you give it your name, you basically just click create. You see, it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy, nothing too pow. You know, I don't have no one else's email right now, so you can just skip it and you can add the team in afterwards. So as soon as you open it, if you have like been in JIRA, you'll see that they're a little bit different now. They have updated. They got a board, a list now, a calendar view. Back in the day, literally just used to be a list. And all of these things will basically have the same information. It would just be a different way of presenting. And I think the most important thing is just finding out what works for your team and also what works for your stakeholders. In my current program, we basically created a Gantt chart, which is basically a timeline of everything when it happens. And me and the project manager that created it, we really thought like this is going to be it. This is going to be the main view that we used. Turned out, pow, we did haven't really used that Gantt chart, and we use a list view because that's what the stakeholders prefer. So the main thing is to really just know what works for your people, and then you basically get a little summary of everything as well, and you got all the attachments. Another new thing that is really cool, so Confluence, I don't know if you guys are aware of Confluence, but Confluence is basically like I call it Wikipedia for projects. So essentially it's just a page where you can put on loads of different information. Confluence and JIRA are from the Atlassian family, so they are together forever. But now they have officially integrated, you see, pages into JIRA. So it's just one place for everything, which I think is nicer as well because it was in two different places. And I think what's happening as well, a lot of people are deciding to leave Confluence and go into other project management tools. So I think they're just trying to encourage you to still use that feature. So that's why Confluence now is essentially moving. Sorry. When I like to work, I prefer to do it in a list view. But then I kind of like the visualization in the board and the calendar and the timeline view. So again, it really depends which is your preference to work in which way. I don't know why my brain just likes it easy as a list. You'll see here, essentially, as we used the project management template, it basically picked a few columns for us. One, we don't need to have all of these columns, and two, we can also pick another column as well. So if we click create, right, for project takeover, one thing I really want to do, I want to do a welcome podcast. That's been on my mind for ages. But we'll put welcome podcast as the task. Welcome podcast, my English podcast, if my English decides to work today. And as like a little quick one, you can even pick a day. Maybe let's put me under pressure. 11th of October, let's go. And it will be assigned to me. And then you create it, right? So also there's different statuses, right? So as you sort in this board, can you see we got to do, in progress, done? In your, or even through here, you can create another one with a little plus. But if you want another status, let's say, what status should we say? I don't know, guys, help me. Status. I'll just say on pause. You could also have that as a status, you know. It's not gonna let me do. Let's see, did it change? Done, on pause, in progress. Okay, here you go. So I gotta put it on pause, and then now, for example, I would know that if I go to my board, can you see, rather than to do, it went straight to on pause. And essentially that's the main thing. You need to just find out what statuses work for you and your project. Usually it's started, in progress, stuck, or completed. It could also be, for example, for budget management and business cases and change requests. It could be submitted, reviewed, approved, disapproved, or on hold. So really just depends what you need it for. So I guess that's the status. Hopefully it does make sense. I feel like I'm a little waffling a little bit this morning as in my flu. So essentially the status really just shows what is the status of that task. And you know, it can literally be anything that you really want it to be. You also see it has a key. So sometimes in project management, we prefer, let's say, unique identifiers, because rather than having to say welcome podcast, will just be PPB1, you know, and you could have that in your reports and everything. So essentially it becomes much quicker. There's also a comment section. So this is amazing for, let's say, you and your team. Like I said, we don't have anyone in here right now, but if I went, Neda, can you help me with some podcast ideas? And I would post this, and if Neda was on here, you would just add Neda, which of course she's not in it, so it's not working. And you basically just post it. And Nether will be able to basically go in here and reply to this, or to basically say that she doesn't have time to do it as well. Or if Nether is doing this task, I could be, what is the latest on this task? Or if you completed stuff, what we basically encourage people to do is add, am I being crazy here? So basically you can add links, images, and files. So essentially with that one is, with everything that you do at work, it'll probably be a little deliverable, right? So if it's a business case, it'll be a document. If it's risk management, it'll be a document. If it's something specific that you delivered within the project, it will basically be here. For example, for the welcome podcast, what I could actually put in here is actually the file of the video or the link to the video as well. This one is really good for one, auditing. Auditing is a really strong thing, and I think a lot of people at work don't really focus on it, but you can get really big hefty fines. So auditing, basically auditors come in and just see, have you been doing things the way you should be doing? Have all the tasks been completed? And is there evidence of those tasks? And as well, is there evidence of sign-offs for those tasks as well? So usually when you send something, you'll get like an approval email, or just the original email that you sent, you save it as a file or as a link, and you basically also post it under each task. This way, there's basically trace of approvals, there's trace of even version control. And then you go into history and it basically will show you everything as well. So if you really utilize it effectively, your auditing and everything becomes much easier, and you don't have to do much stuff, let's say last minute running about it. Do you see the benefit of the comments? Do you see why we utilize it, and why it's like a great way as well, just to get updates from your team so you're not breathing down their neck? And another thing, if you really teach your team to go and update these as you go, essentially you won't really have to message them for a lot of things, because currently, if like, you know, I come on here and I see a comment that Nether made yesterday, I'm not really going to probably ask a question about it, right? So it's a really nice way to get updates from your team without having to breathe on your team's neck. So I always say as well, actually, mommy brought me food. So yeah, do you guys see the benefit of comments and everything in there? Hopefully that you do. Another way of updating it, you see when we clicked on something, this whole page opens up. So again, it depends on your preferences. You can update stuff going through here through the link, or you can basically open it up and really have everything in there as well. You can add the description. You can also add subtasks, right? So for the welcome podcast, it's not just a welcome podcast, right? I need ideas that I will discuss. Well, actually, let's do this discussion. It will be filming. Is Sagun in here? Did you guys admit him? Hey, Sagun, how are you? Good morning. Hope you're well. So we'll do filming. Another thing, we're basically just going through JIRA and you know how to utilize it for your projects, and just to get people familiar with, so they can really go and start cracking these out as well. And this way really have stuff to put on their CV, and just make them a better project manager, because you know you guys love everything in Excel. Gets on my nerves. Huh. What else do you guys think part of making a podcast? So a subtask is basically, what do we need to achieve that main task? So what else do you think comes with creating a podcast? Essentially, that's how you break it down.
Advertising.
Oh, advertising. Well done. That was a good one. Advertising.
Finding guests, and obviously inviting guests to make sure availability. If you're going to do like a series, to make sure everybody's lined up,
Yeah,
to make sure you're not missing an episode or whatever.
I like that. I like that. That was a good one. And I guess actually even uploading it, isn't it? Even choosing the platform where the podcast will be. So did that hopefully make sense? So essentially the main task is not completed, contains subtasks that are needed to achieve that task. The way we used to actually work by is as well, we used to actually do these in milestones and break those milestones into subtasks in the JIRA world, in the agile world. So this would be called an epic. An epic is basically like a milestone that you want to achieve. And these child babies are basically called stories. So a story makes up an epic. And usually in agile, if you're doing it correctly, what it basically should say is a welcome podcast, and it should say, as a host of the podcast, I want to choose discussion items. And then it would say, as a host of the podcast, I want to film the podcast. So essentially, that's how technically stories break down into. Doesn't need more food. Big back. Sorry. Oh, it looks good. Look at that Loli's cupcake. So essentially, that's how um that's how stories should be. As a something, I want to do this. As a something, I want to do this. I have found out no one really does that like that in project management, but you should at least try to do it for your requirements gathering. So then at the end, you can basically tick off, did you achieve this? And that's why if you do it by stories, maybe I should actually be doing it by stories. At the end, it becomes really easy to know what you needed to achieve for this project. So I would even say, as a podcast watcher, I don't know, is that what people are called? As a podcast listener, that's it, listener. As a podcast listener, I want to get knowledge, you know? So then it's like, I go through this list, like, oh, did this provide what the podcast listener also need? Oh, that's hot. So then that's how it basically looks like. Can you see? Like, you can expand it, you can collapse it if you would like. And yeah, making sense? Any questions so far? Sense, perfect. So there is this other one as well called category. They basically put that in from the thing. If you don't like it, you can basically hide it. As a category, I would actually put that as advertisement, because I feel like, oh, should I say advertisement? I feel like advertisement and knowledge share, isn't it? Let's see if we can have two categories, because technically, can I do another one? No, category only lets you pick one. So I'll just put advertisement, knowledge share. I feel like automatically when you are doing knowledge, it does come with advertisement, because, well, that's our main thing, right? To show people how the amazing knowledge and project will take over, and you're like, wow, I really want to join the community. You're like, oh, I really want to do the courses. So again, for a category, you could have different projects there that you got going on. If your projects are broken down into, let's say, different benefits, you could have the categories different benefits. If you also have different phases of the project, you could have that as a category. So the category, again, really is tailored to the project that you are using. In this assignee part, so it's me now, or unassigned. So essentially, if you put more team members in here, you will be able to. Oh, sorry, guys. Oh, that's disgusting. If you basically invite people, the nice thing is you can invite them straight from Google, Slack, and Microsoft. So you don't have to individually, like, enter the emails and stuff like that. So you just basically enter someone's email and it sends it to them, and this is where you assign it. This way as well, people know who owns the task, who is accountable for the task, and who is responsible to be carrying out that task. And as well, due date, I guess that's really explanatory, right? Due when you want this completed by, and it's an amazing thing because, well, I'll show you if we have time. We're going to go into dashboards, and essentially in those dashboards you can click what is upcoming for you to do, and you can actually see it by, let's say, different due dates, so you know what you're focusing on, you know what your priorities are. Also, another thing in the dashboards where you'll be able to see is sort of resource utilization. So let's say if today Darlington had 10 tasks that are due, it's probably not feasible that he's gonna complete those tasks, right? So yeah, that's the main thing. So it allows you to basically utilize your resources as effectively as you can. And then as well, you can set a priority as well for these. So let's say if Darlington did have 1 million of tasks, but only 2 of them were the highest priority, they know to really go and focus on these tasks instead for today. And that's I think what I do on like a weekly basis, I always go through my to-do list and I just prioritize it because my to-do list is always massive. And priority shift as we go. I really do is go through it with my program manager and basically just see, is this the priority for this week? And sort of prioritize it. I didn't really have it by highest high, but medium low. I had it by numbers. So again, your priority is really depending on how you want to work it out. Hey lovelies, how are you? Thanks for joining us. How was your week? We're just covering JIRA. Just JIRA. But let's say this is a medium priority for me right now. There is bigger priorities in Project Voltaic that I need to sort out. So this would be a medium. Labels, this is my favorite. So I really love a label. Labels is actually how we used to filter out different stuff within the project. So we was really labeling it by the different substreams projects, because essentially what most of the projects, what they'll do, they break it down into, forgive me, someone help me. Mortal was fun, but this is not it. Sorry, let's go. So usually what your project will have is sub-projects, so you break those down. So that's what actually we used to use labels for. So the whole project used to be the 7th project of that program. And then we had 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5. That's crazy that my brain still remembers that, because that was like in 2021. I feel like it was yesterday. Actually, it's so funny. I'm gonna regroup a little bit. Someone I saw that I started project management journey with. Kick noise. Okay. Sorry. And it was funny because he was celebrating for over 4 years in HSBC, and honestly, I'm a job hopper, so I would love actually as well to do like an interview or stuff with him to see the difference in our journeys, because he's basically stayed in HSBC since we started, and me, I've been all over the world. So I think it's really making me, I guess, reflect on HSBC. That's why probably it's stuck in my brain. And I would say HSBC is where I really heavily use JIRA as well. So I think deep down, anytime I'm in JIRA, it kind of reminds me of the stuff that we used to do in there. So yeah, a little story of Balamori. Hopefully it was an interesting one. Sorry, 2 seconds. Perfect. So again, because this didn't have a label, I mean, different categories that I could add. I think this is where I would put stuff like advertisement, new label. Then I would put marketing. No, that's the same thing. Then I would put knowledge share. Can you guys think of any other label that, let's say, podcast could fall into? Just to see that, hopefully you understand what we do in these labels.
So podcast material, like the topic of the podcast, we create a list of
I like that.
of all of the topics. Sorry.
Oh, I like my English. I like that. Podcast material, we got advertisement. Can you see you can put all different things? I guess even communication channels, isn't it? Because this is like a big communication channel, to communicate or with thingy. Oh, sorry, just replied. So perfect. And we'll see. I'm gonna show you how it works a little bit. Another great thing is you basically see, you can have this field, you can hide it if you don't like, but it basically shows when this was created. So essentially, if you created this, let's say on the 20th, and now we're going to open this in December and still no movement has been made, you kind of can see if your team is being stagnant. So I do like the created thing, but sometimes it doesn't really matter too much because, well, you're going to constantly be creating things at different phases, and as well, another column that I like is the updated column. So as a project manager, as a PMO, as a program manager, as a business analyst, if you set a task and someone needs to complete it and it's a weekly update, and it says they haven't updated. If last time it was updated, it was like 2 weeks ago. It's really easy to identify who hasn't updated the task. And essentially, this could be for like budget management. This could be even, you couldn't even do risks and everything in JIRA as well, right? So I really like the updated one because basically it allows people not to hide. And even you yourself, if you're updating something that it's a weekly update, you basically get to realize like which tasks you have updated, which you haven't updated. So I guess on the fields that we kind of discussed, does anyone have any questions for them? I'll be back in the background. No, love you. I'm just hoping I'm doing such an amazing job that you guys are like, no, it's so clear. No. Hopefully. And there's also this reporter as well. So essentially, so who's going to be reporting on this task? For example, I could be the assignee and I could be accountable, but I could actually have someone else responsible for this task. So I would actually set them up here so that people kind of know if you do need some sort of detail sometimes, who's responsible for reporting on this. That's another good thing. But again, all of these fields, it really depends how detailed you want it to be. Some places that I've been in is literally just task, status. We don't even call it status, we call it RAG actually, red, amber, or green, rather than on pause and whatever. Then you basically have the assignee and you have the due date. That's like all you can have. Or you can go in and have all of these in there as well. And if you need to add any other tasks as well, it basically, you can create it here. So let's say if I wanted a checkbox, what should the checkbox say? Completed. But I guess that's in the status. But just for the sake of completed, or let's say reviewed. If I'm having my team help me with this podcast, reviewed by G. And now it will become a little checkbox. So essentially, as I'm going through this list, right at the end, I can basically, I didn't add the option. Let me edit it. God, that's why it popped up. And you basically have yes, no, need more info. You can basically also add descriptions for these fields. So you never assume that people know what you mean. That's one thing in project management. Never assume people know what you mean about anything. So describe what this field actually is, and I promise you your life will be much easier. So then we'll go here and then can you click reviewed by G? Yes, no, or you can even have multiples as well. And you see, so now it's like if I went through this, and let's say if I had a team working on this, they could basically send me everything that's like a no and be like, gee, can you remove this? Whereas everything that's like a yes, if I want to know actually what we have completed already as a team, I would do that and basically think, yep. Again, this doesn't need to be reviewed by G. This can be anything, but the main point is to show you that you can basically have a little tick on anything in your project. Another great thing is I like drop down drop downs. There you go. For drop down, we'll say, I don't know, guys. What did we say? What drop down? They could even have the priority as a drop down. Right. My English, guys. Right. Why can I not spell priority? Priority. English doesn't make sense. That's what you go. you could even have hi. And you could actually, I don't know if you guys know about most corporatization. So it's must have, should have, could have, won't have. I do feel like, I don't know about your guys' experience if you have worked in projects. I feel like we just do must have versus nice to have. And on the finance, it's always like, is it a must have? Or is it a must have or is it a should have? If it's a nice to have, forget about it. You're not gonna get anywhere with it. So again, we don't need this field. You close it. And again, this is I think it's a must have. I do think this podcast has been on my mind for ages, so it is a must have. This is not like a little nice to have. So again, this can be anything that you want, as long as you basically know JIRA has the capability to give you a drop-down list. Why a drop-down list? You don't want people entering millions of different information. And also you want to make it easier for people to, as well, to enter it. So it's like, rather than entering must have every time, they just click on it. So it's efficiency, right? And it's standardization. So everyone in your project will be using the same information for that field. Are we making sense? Are we making sense? Yeah, perfect. So you could even basically have a resolution on it. Let a resolution. What do you mean? Why did it done? Why would it do that? What's coming?
Eu pensei que nie szóstes voor stikkel palet.
Why is it saying resolution is done? That doesn't make sense. Is it broken? Let's try to open it. When we open the actual thing. Oh my god, guys. Nothing's working anymore. Why? Why did it let me open it? There you go.
Change
Where?
view to go to the, I was going to say change the view, go into the board view and then click into it.
Yeah, oh, thank you. That's a good point. That's a good point. Because it is easier to pop a power, isn't it? Where's this resolution thing? Why are they doing it as a thing? I don't like that. Because resolution shouldn't really be just that. A C actually does. So that's why sometimes then choosing their fields, just create a new field. And let's say for resolution, in my world, resolution means what happened with it, especially with an issue and a risk. So I would put resolution here. And then this way, rather than, I don't know what this field is doing and JIRA is not making no sense whatsoever. How can it be done? So what I would do is hide this field because I don't need it. And for resolution, because this is, let me write. Okay, I guess you have to write on here because it's a big one. Am I being crazy? Guys, it's not there no more. Let's go to the board.
I think resolution might only show up under subtasks because the main task is just a big task, right? So all of the subtasks would have resolutions underneath per subtask. So if you identified any risk or whatever for them, then you need to put down mitigation strategy as part of the resolution. So it might not show in the main task, no?
I get what you mean. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. It's adding up here as a little. Oh, okay, wait. So can you see it rather popped up as like a description and resolution here? Let's see if it pops up at the top as well for the main one. Okay, so resolution pops up as not a separate field, but can you see it's like a little thingy here? So then here we could basically say the resolution of it. Resolution, I feel like that's more for risk and issues, isn't it? So right now that would probably be outcome. And then, the outcome could be podcast. Oh, go away. Go away, Shotty. We could have outcome would be podcast has been submitted. If my English was to work. And then pow. You basically know that and I think when people are getting in a, if you get people in a, what's the word, automatically, as soon as you press something is completed in the status, you should tell them that whatever is completed should have a resolution or an outcome or the deliverable from it, you know, because essentially then if it says it's completed but you don't know the outcome from it, you can really pick people up and be like, well, what was the end of this task, you know? And again, it depends. Not all tasks might be needing this, not all projects might be needing this, so it's really up to you to decide what works. But essentially you just see in this field that you can basically, you know, add all of this in, and this is nice to review afterwards, especially for project managers, because, well, when you're going through it, you can basically see what happened for each task. And hey Gail, good morning, my darling, how are you? So yeah,
Good morning, everyone. I'm good, thank you, G.
how was your night out?
I'm sick, so it was
Oh
good.
Lord.
It was good.
Nice. We love to hear. Well, not that you're sick, but whenever you see me, Bender got me sick. It was a good bender. Whenever you come back defeated, it was a good bender. It was just basically covering all the JIRA fields and everything like that. So essentially, yeah, you guys see, you can basically really create what's the word? It's not tailored, guys. It's not tailored fields. What is it called? Personalized.
Customize.
Customized. Oh my God, that's the word. Customized. Send me back to Lithuania at this point. Oh my God. Customized fields. And you can really pick different ones. So if you wanted dates for, let's say, they could also be, there could be a due date, but there could also be a review date. So you go with your team and you basically, if a big task is due on, let's say, 20th of September, you don't want to, this shouldn't be the first day that you as a project manager or, you know, a program manager or a PMO or a business analyst, this shouldn't be the first time that you see that task. So you could have another day and call it review date. And when you add this review date, you pick a review date when you what is the time that, let's say, you would need to have it done, right? I guess this podcast, let's say, would be a little bit of a hefty one. So it's like, I don't want to review it a few days before. What if I need to refilm the whole podcast? So in my head, probably by the 1st of October, even though this is due on the 11th of October, I really want to review this on the 1st of October to basically know. And, you know, of course, this is just one person working, so it's different. But essentially, if you got doing that with your team, if you have that, it's like this is the deadline low-key your team works for. So when it's the real deadline, you end up really being ready for it. I don't know why in project management people do that. Something would be due on the 20th and there'll be the legit first time they look at it. And most of the time they'll be like, oh, it's not ready, like we can't submit it, blah, 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 because it's just not up to the standard that it needs. So if you got something due, guys, do not wait for that day to have a look at it, especially if you're managing a team and the team is completing it. Because I promise you, majority of the time, there's going to be your feedback that you need to incorporate, or you give feedback to incorporate into the thing. So yeah, the main thing is with this JIRA, you can really create it in any fields that you like. You know, if you feel like you don't need as many fields, no, it's telling you to do it. And then you see here, then we spoke about the subtasks and how it basically breaks down. Another thing I wanted to do is, let's say, I wanted to create a parent. With the parent, where did I see it? Where is it gone? I can't find it anymore. Basically, as a parent, you can link all of these into like one main milestone, and the parent is basically the milestone, and you basically see what tasks are needed to achieve that milestones, and those tasks breaks down into these subtasks. I saw it somewhere. I'm being blind. And even related work items. So you can basically put dependencies in it. You can basically put dependencies in it to different tasks. So let's say this welcome podcast is definitely blocked by, well, what Project World Takeover mission is. There's no point me doing a welcome podcast until I've sat down and had the mission, right? I mean, I know the mission is completed by now, so we know I'm not blocked by it, but technically it would basically be blocked by that one. And another amazing thing is as well, it basically also links it to your other projects as well. So can you see here, this links it to like a whole another thing. Why it's good to have this? Because, well, basically, you know, if this task was due on the 25th of September, but this task needed to be completed by 20th of September, you basically know that you need to make sure this task is done first before you can go into this task. And that's what we call dependencies in project management. Are you dependent on something else to start the work, or is someone else also dependent on you? So that's another area that you could put by. So it's not blocked by, but this block another task. So another task could be that this block from is actually the, I don't know, like the, I don't know, uploading podcast or something like that, you know? It's like, you know, until this is completed, I cannot upload the thing. So then it allows you to basically see your blockers and how it works and how it basically dependencies that you have. Did dependencies make sense if you guys world? I feel like I waffled a little bit. But it's like a cup of tea. You could basically, the dependency of a cup of tea is boiling a water kettle. Until that water kettle is boiled, you will not be able to boil that kettle. However, you also got another dependency on tea bags. If you're going to tea bags in the house, that's a blocker. You need to go and get these tea bags to make the tea. So that's a dependency. If you're making the tea for your mom, but you're busy in the meeting, the dependency will be on your meeting, because that's what's blocking you making the tea. So dependencies can come from someone else is blocking you from doing something and you have to wait for them to complete it, or it can come from you, that someone else is waiting for you to do something until it's completed. Yeah. And you know, you can basically even put it relates to, so you basically know which kind of task it goes to, and it's even duplicated and clones with. So essentially with that one, what you can really do is, this is clones, and that is cloned by, so you basically end up knowing that it's the same task, so two teams don't need to do the same task. So it's a really effective way not to waste your time. So that's on all of the views. Let's say all the views, all of the fields. Maybe let's do another one in the list. Just a little, I don't know what else. I want to do courses, right? I need to start doing courses. People constantly message me for courses. The courses are not out there. Why? Because she hasn't set them up. So that's like another task that I really want to do for project or takeover. And now can you see the different views? So we had a list view, and this is my preference to work in. I don't know why. It's just me. I prefer to work in the list. Again, just finding your preference. Now we go into a board view as well. So essentially this is more like a Kanban view. And that's another thing that you see in project management. You end up basically really utilizing loads of different project management stuff. So even though, let's say we're talking about agile, this is a Kanban view. This is like a whole another, it's not even methodology. What is a Kanban? Is it a tool? I know, guys, what's a Kanban? Tool? But Kanban essentially is boards that show you different statuses. So you can open the Kanban view if you prefer, and you click on it. It'll show you everything that you need completing. But see with this one, I just don't like, okay, let's show you here. But see, to me, that's starting to look messy. That's starting to look messy. That's why I prefer the list. But it is nice to visualize how much is happening, what is in progress, what is done. Remember that you can rename these, so these don't have to be by that. And in your calendar as well. So, let me not put something in the calendar. I swear we did. Why is it not showing up? Why is it not showing up? Is it not linked? Is your calendar not linked? This calendar business is also new in JIRA. We never had it before. Because we able to expect to see on the 11th. Oh, because it's not showing me the weekend, because we don't work on the weekends. I like you, JIRA. I like you, JIRA. Encourage our people not to work on weekends. So let's put it on the 10th. How? You see, I like that. That's so cute. You know, working on weekends around JIRA. I'm sure you can probably turn it into, oh, here you go, show weekends here. So yeah, now let's say if you prefer your calendar view, as someone who's managing a lot of people or even managing your own workload, if you open this and you see you got a bunch of stuff here, will you be really able to finish all the tasks required for Friday, you know? So just effectively to manage it. And with this timeline here as well. Oh, we didn't have a start date. But essentially, if you add a start date for all your tasks, then it will be able to basically really create your lovely Gantt chart. And with this is like an amazing way just to basically see thing. Let's see how it exports as well. Beautiful. So you basically don't have to do this manually, you know, a lot of this time. And you can even basically click when you want to see the Gantt chart view from. And Gantt chart is another project management tool and essentially just shows visibly when the tasks are due. So another amazing thing we'll quickly show is forms. A lot of people don't like submitting like the task view list because it's just ill, especially for like budgets and stuff like that. Or even let's say change requests. What else could it be? It could be even business case approvals. It could even be budget approvals. So what you can basically do is create a form. So with this form, you create everything that you want in here. You can drag all the different fields. People click it. You make sure you click which ones are the required ones. Summary always required. Okay. Description required, or you can turn it off. And by having basically this, you can basically share it with your team. And your team fills out this instead. So can you see it's just a little bit more user-friendly and a little bit nicer from that perspective, and it automatically will populate into the board as required. So just knowing that one as well. And these pages that we mentioned, you can basically turn this into your wiki page. So you could have meeting minutes in there. You can basically have stuff about the project and everything like that. So with this, there is way more for JIRA. This is like literally a drop in the ocean. Literally a drop in the ocean. I do like this little summary. Can you see it shows you how many done, how many to do, shows you the breakdown of priorities, types of work that we have going on as well. You could also link it to related project as if you're doing portfolios and programs. And yeah, so that's like a drop in the ocean. Another amazing thing that they do is basically you can add all of these different ways to utilize your mami, que eu so you can basically have different ways to display the data from your project in here. You can have it as a pie chart. You can have it as sort of, you know, these bubbles kind of show how the correlation between the days open, number of comments, and participants. So it's like it basically shows you from, because I only got one task in it, it's not breaking it down, but this way you can basically able to see visually the priorities of it. And you basically can even have like, you know, the stream summary as well. And you can basically have even issues and stuff assigned to you. So it really showcases what you've got going on. From here, they do have loads of other different gadgets, so we didn't have time to go through these again, but maybe if you guys are interested I can show you in another session. And you know, the sprint health as well is like a really nice way because it really shows how your sprint is doing, so how many tasks have you got completed and stuff, and how many stuff are out doing. So it's like a quick realization of how, let's say, the health is. So can you guys see, having it for your project, how it can make your life so much easier? You can automate a lot of this stuff. A lot of these actually, I create manually right now, and it burns my head because it's like, if I use a project management tool, I wouldn't have to create manually. That's why I don't know why people like Excel, because look at all of this. Wow, beautiful. So I guess before we wrap up today's JIRA, I know I don't was it JIRA, and even just put JIRA into Google. It's online because I got it. JIRA. Just search it. Don't know why I'm going through Bing. And can you see here? It basically opens here, and you just go to JIRA. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Sharon. I'm gonna do this. So you basically search JIRA, and it goes into JIRA over here.